Hey guys, I'm Nico Alexander. I hope you're having an amazing day. I'm a drummer and you're watching Mix Our Band. Okay, let's start off with the bass drum mics. Here we have an SM57 clone. We do not actually know the name of this, but I call it the Tank because of how rugged and sturdy it is. And we keep it like 2, 3, maybe 4 inches away from the beater head, and the capsule does not blow out. And for how strong this mic is, it's absolutely stellar for an inside kick. So that just goes inside, if you can see here, inside the kick like 3 or 4 inches away. And then we have the outside kick. Here we have a KBM 412. This is just like the D12. This is like a D12 clone, basically. And if you kind of think about it, A, B, C, D, 4. So the D12, the 412, you see kind of the cross between there. And the way we have this is actually halfway in. So it's like an outside kick because it uses the outside technique. And it has a it's like the D12 frequency response. It's practically the same exact response graph, and it sounds very good for a kick mic outside. So those are the mics we use. And occasionally we will have another outside mic right here, only because we think we may need it, but we don't keep it too close because some of the mics may not be designed for the kick, so that's why we keep it here so the capsule doesn't blow out. But that's only if we really think we should use it for the little bit of punchiness in it. So those are the mics we'd use for a kick. Moving on to the rack toms, here we're using a 4-piece kit. These are the TSM 411 rack tom mics. These are actually the Shure KSM clones, and since they're the clones, they actually have the same frequency response as the Shure mics, which are really good. And for different songs, I would have it with the distance really comes into play on what kind of song you're producing. If you have a slower, more ballady song, I will keep the microphones up here to hear the full tone of the tom, so you can really hear the high and the low. But if you're performing or recording more of a fast song or rock metal type song, I would keep it more close to it. This is kind of, oh, here, okay. I would keep it closer to the center for the, so you hear just the attack, and it's really on personal preferences, but that's where I would generally keep it. And yeah, those are the rack toms I use. Next up is the overheads. So we're going to take a look at these. The overheads I'm using currently are the ISM 417s, I believe. Yeah, they're ISM 417s. And the way I have these overheads is basically, actually, the reason for overheads is for the stereo picture. Many times people don't hear a drum set only one piece at a time. They hear the whole overall drum set. So they don't hear it standing from here. They hear it from standing back away from the drum set and hear it as one big choir. So having just one mic on each part of the drum set is not natural. Having overheads creates the stereo picture and really defines the drums of where they're at. And you can even kind of hear how far each piece is away from each other. So having a handy dandy tape measure around is always good for measuring how far it is from each other. So that's why I keep it on the cable, actually, just so I never lose it. And I do keep it straight shotted at the snare because you're going to pick up the whole kit, so why not have it relative to each other and have it straight at the snare. So ISM 417s are the overheads I'm using currently. Before we move on, I want to give a last few words of the overheads, and it's that anytime you add 2 mics trying to get the same thing, you're going to get issues with phase. And the way we solve that is with a combination of EQ and a particular plugin we use, but You'll see that in another video, so go check that out. Let's get cracking with the snare. Here we have a Sennheiser E935, and it has a nice mid-range and a nice bite to it. So it sounds really, really good. If we move down here, we have my bottom mic, and this is a Beyerdynamic MC834. And this mic and basically a bottom mic and a top mic is a really good combination because you get the lower thud and the doosh to it, if you get the gist of that. And the top, you really get the crack out, and you get the strainer sound with the bottom mic that most people or some people don't use, but I like using that because it just gives it a little bit more to the snare, and you can hear a little bit more features of it. So bottom mic and a top mic combination is very, very nice. I also use that for the second snare, but currently I do not have the mics here. They're packed up away to keep safe because I'm not recording this and I don't want them to get damaged. But I would do the same exact thing for the second snare, and it sounds fantastic with the top and bottom. So those are the snare mics I use. Okay, for the hi-hats, we're going to move on here. We are also using, or I'm also using, the Sennheiser E935 still. Only real thing I'd like to mention here is the positioning, how we have it facing on its own and nothing else, because you don't want to fight the hi-hats with the snare and even the bass drum and some of the crashes, because they have around the same frequency that the hi-hat has, and you really don't want to fight trying to separate them because you will again choke up and corrupt the hi-hat frequencies. So this is why I keep the hi-hat microphone on its own. You can see the cymbal is not going straight in. Why it's pointing this way, the cymbal's not going in, the snare isn't really going in, and the toms aren't going in, and so that's why it's pointing away. And moving on to the other side of the kit, here we have an Audio Technica 4033, or the AT4033, whatever you want to call it. This is a great microphone, especially for its low cut. You see we have a little switch here for the low cut, and it also has a 10 dB pad, so you can take off 10 dB coming in, or you can have it at 0 so it's neutral and have it what it's actually hearing. And here I have it positioned so it picks up the bell, and the outside and the mid area. And then I also have it a little bit for the stack. The stack isn't primarily used. I've been using it recently because I like it, but I usually use one at a time, and it's usually over there. But for right now, I like it right here, and this microphone is very good with a ride. So Audio Technica 4033 water microphone. Here we're going to take a look at our mono room mic. Here we have the C414XL2 60th year edition, 60th year anniversary edition. Here we have 5 polar patterns, and it's 5 right here, but actually it's 9 because you can go in between them. So you can go from just Omni to Cardioid. So you can go from Omni to Cardioid, and you can go between, or just Cardioid, and then from Cardioid to Hypercardioid, and you can go in between all the way to figure 8, and that's very cool. And it's an amazing room mic. Okay guys, those are the mics I used. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please comment down below. Tell me what kind of mics you're using. Let's have a conversation of what kind of mics you like. Click that like button and that subscribe button in the face, and I'll see you next time. Bye.